Hello, Chris here. In this 22-part video series, I'm going to show you how to make an animated farm scene like this in Blender. In the previous videos, we made our two barns like this and applied materials to them. In this video, we're going to make our third barn and apply materials to it like this. So let's get started. This is what we got up to last time. Now we need to make our third barn. In order to do that, we need to move this barn to here so that it stays out of the way. So select this barn, G to move, Y to move along Y axis and move it here. Make sure the empty is with that barn. Since I parented it, it will move along easily. So select this barn, shift to select this barn, press H in the keyboard to hide them in the viewport. Select these empties, press H in the keyboard to hide them also. Now we need to add another cube here so that we can make our third barn. So shift plus A, mesh cube. We are in the material preview mode. We need to go to solid mode. Now we need to rename this to barn 3. Now we need to add an empty so that we can mirror this object. So shift plus A, empty, plane axis. The empty is currently inside this cube. We need to change the dimensions of this cube. So select the cube, press N in the keyboard to bring out this menu. Change the X dimension to 3, Y dimension to 6, and Z dimension to 0.1. Now we can see the empty. We need to apply this scale, which means we need to make this all to 1. So in order to do that, select the cube, Ctrl plus A in the keyboard, then select scale. This will apply the scale and make this XYZ value to 1. Make sure the values are 1 by pressing Ctrl plus A, then selecting scale. This is important if you want to extrude the models inside edit mode. So make sure the scale is 1. Now hide the panel using N key. Select the empty first, then shift to select the cube, then Ctrl plus P in the keyboard, then select object. Now if we select the cube and move it using G key, we can see the empty is moving with the cube. Then press escape to cancel any movement. Now we need to apply a mirror to this cube so that we only have to work on one side of the cube. So select the cube, go to edit mode using tab. We need to put a loop cut here in the middle. Go to front view using numpad 1. Bring out of front view using middle mouse button. Ctrl plus R in the keyboard, left click, then right click to cancel any movement. Go to wireframe mode, go to vertex selection mode. Select these 4 vertices, press X in the keyboard, then select vertices. This deleted half of the object. Now we need to apply a mirror modifier. Go to solid mode, go to modifier properties, this wrench icon, add modifier, mirror modifier. This will add a mirror modifier. We didn't rename the empty object, so go to object mode using tab, select the empty. As you can see, the empty is not showing in this outliner. Go to this drop down arrow and click this. So the empty is inside the barn object. So double click on the empty, change the name to mirror point 3. Then you can collapse this using this arrow icon. Select the cube, change the mirror object to mirror point 3. Make sure the x-axis is the axis and turn on clipping. Now select the cube, go to edit mode using tab, go to face selection mode, select the top face, go to front view using numpad 1. Now we need to extrude this 3 meters and 1 meter. So E to extrude, 3 to extrude 3 meter, then press enter. E to extrude again 1 meter, then press enter. So we extruded 3 meters and 1 meter. Now go to edge selection mode, select this edge, G to move, X to move along x-axis and place it here. Now we need to remove these 2 double vertices. So select all using A key, press M in the keyboard, then select by distance. You'll get a message says removed 2 vertices. Now go to face selection mode, select this face. We need to make the roof. So E to extrude and extrude it to here. Now we need to extrude these faces, so select this face and shift to select the rest of them. Now we need to extrude these faces along their normals, so press Alt plus E in the keyboard, select extrude faces along normals and extrude it to here. Now we're going to move these faces upward, so after selecting that 3 new faces, G to move, Z to move along Z axis and place it here. So you can see you got a nice little curve to it. Now we need to place 6 loop cuts in this side. So go to side view using numpad 3, Ctrl plus R, then increase the number using mouse scroll wheel to 6, then left click and right click to cancel any movement. Now we need to make windows for a barn, so that's why we place these 6 loop cuts. Now go to front view using them.Then. We need to place a loop cut here. So Control plus R in the keyboard, left click, slide this loop cut to here and left click to confirm. Now go to face selection mode, select this face, shift select these faces and shift to select this face, press I to insert, then I again to insert them individually and insert it here. Now select only these faces, don't select this one, not yet. Now we need to make sure this is individual origins, pivot point is individual origins. Now S to scale and scale it here. And we need to scale this along y-axis, S to scale, Y to scale among y-axis and scale it to here. And we need to move this down, G to move, Z to move along z-axis and move it here. And we need to extrude them a little, E to extrude, then I to insert, E to extrude again and extrude inwards. Now we need to insert again, I to insert. Now we need to subdivide them, right click, subdivide. Now we need to insert them individually. I to insert and insert it here. G to move, X to move along x-axis and move it inwards. We got 4 little windows to our barn. Select this face, S to scale, X to scale among x-axis and place it here. Then G to move, X to move along x-axis and place it here. Now we need to extrude this, E to extrude a little, I to insert, E to extrude inwards, I to insert, right click, subdivide, I to insert again, G to move, Y to move along y-axis and move it here. Now we can see we got a window there. Now we need to make a window here. Select this face, I to insert, S to scale, X to scale among x-axis, E to extrude, extrude it a little, I to insert, E to extrude, I to insert again, right click, subdivide, I to insert again, G to move, Y to move along y-axis and place it here. We got windows to our barn. Now we need to make a little extrusion here. So go to front view using them.Then, Control plus R in the keyboard and left click and slide the loop cut to here. Now go to side view using them.3. Make sure we are in face selection mode. Select these faces. Make sure nothing else is selected. Go to front view using them.Then, E to extrude and extrude it here. As you can see, we are getting the same on the other side. We don't want that. So left click and Control plus Z to undo the extrusion. We need to apply this mirror because we are going to make an asymmetrical model. So go to object mode using tab, click on this drop down, then click apply. This will apply the mirror modifier. Select the object, go to edit mode using tab. We need to select these faces only. Then shift to select these faces. Make sure nothing else is selected. Go to front view using them.Then, E to extrude and extrude it here. Now go to edge selection mode. Select this edge. Then press Ctrl and click this edge. By clicking Ctrl, this will select that edge and everything between them. Go to front view using them.Then, and we need to make a roof. So G to move, Z to move along z-axis and place it here. Now we need to make a roof for this section. So we need to place a loop cut. So Control plus R in the keyboard and left click and slide the loop cut to here. Now we get a roof to our model. Now we need to make a little extrusion here. So select this face, shift to select these 2 faces. Go to side view, E to extrude and extrude it here. Now we need to make the roof section. So select this face and pressing Ctrl and left click on this face. This will select that face loop from this face to that face. Now we need to extrude them along the normal. So Alt plus E in the keyboard. Select extrude faces along normals and extrude it to here. As you can see, we get a nice curve to that face. Now we need to make windows here and a door. So select this face, shift select this face and shift select this middle face. Go to side view using them.3, I to insert and insert it here. Now select this face and this face only. G to move, Z to move along z-axis and place it here. Make sure it's in the individual origins, as you can see. Now we need to extrude this, E to extrude, I to insert, and insert it here, E to extrude again, I to insert again, then right click, subdivide. Now select these two faces and shift select these two faces. Now S to scale, Z to scale among Z axis and scale it to here. Now G to move, Z to move along Z axis and place it here. Now we need to insert this as a single object, so I to insert, then press I again. This will insert it together. Now E to extrude, extrude it a little. Select this face, shift select this face and shift select this face. Now I to insert, then G to move, X to move along X axis and bring it forth a little. Now we got a door to our barn. Now we need to make a opening window here. So S to scale, Y to scale among Y axis and scale it like this. S to scale, Z to scale among Z axis and scale it like this. G to move, Z to move along Z axis and place it here. It's a little at the top, so G to move, Z to move along Z axis, bring it down a little. And we need to extrude this, E to extrude, then I to insert, E to extrude again and extrude it inwards. Now we need to separate this face into a simple object so that we can make a window. So select that face, press P in the keyboard, then select selection. Then go to object mode using tab. As you can see, it is a simple object now. Then go to edit mode using tab. Select that face, then turn on snapping, then change this to vertex. Now after selecting that face, G to move, X to move along X axis and place the mouse cursor on this vertex, then left click. Now as you can see, that face is moved to this vertex position. Now turn off snapping, go to object mode using tab, select that object, press / in the numpad. Pressing / in the numpad will make it into a local view. Now go to edit mode using tab. We need to make this into a window shape. E to extrude and extrude it here. Don't need this back face, select the face, press X in the keyboard, then select faces. Now select this front face, I to insert, then I to insert again, G to move, X to move along X axis and bring it little front. I to insert again, E to extrude and extrude it here. As you can see, it is looking like a window. Now we need to rotate this. In order to do that, we need to place a 3D cursor here. So go to edge selection mode, select this edge at the front. Now we need to place a 3D cursor to this edge. So shift + S in the keyboard, then select cursor to selected. This will place a 3D cursor at the center of that edge. Now make sure the pivot point is 3D cursor. Go to object mode using tab. Press / to come out of local view. Now we need to rotate this. So go to edit mode using tab after selecting that object. Select everything by pressing A key. We made a mistake. We need to move everything to inside a little. So select all using A key. Turn on snapping. G to move. X to move along X axis and place it here. Now we can rotate this, turn off snapping, R to rotate, Y to rotate among Y axis, and we can rotate this like this. Now we will get an open window. So you can see we get a little gap here, so G to move, then press Ctrl to turn on snapping and place it here. Now we get a perfectly opened window. Now go to object mode using tab, select the barn, go to edit mode using tab. Now we need to make 3 doors here. So select this face using face selection mode. I to insert and insert it here. S to scale, X to scale among X axis. As you can see, a 3D cursor is the pivot point. Change that to median point. S to scale, X to scale among X axis. And place it here. G to move, Z to move along Z axis and place it here. Now E to extrude, I to insert, E to extrude inwards, I to insert, Now subdivide, select these top two faces, S to scale, Z to scale among Z axis, G to move, Z to move along Z axis. Now I to insert, then E to extrude inwards. Select these two faces, I to insert, press I again to insert individually. Then G to move, Y to move along Y axis and place it forward a little. Now we get a third door. Now select this face and we need to place a door here and here. As you can see, it's not a square at this point, so we need to place a loop cut here. So Ctrl plus R in the keyboard and place a loop cut to here. Now select this edge, make sure in the edge selection mode, loop cutting will place it in the edge selection mode. Now S to scale, Z to scale among Z axis, then press 0 in the keyboard, then press enter. Now we need to bring this down, G to move, Z to move along Z axis and place it here. If you go to front view, you can see it's parallel to the ground. Now go to face selection mode, select this face, shift to select this face, I to insert it here. Now select this face, S to scale, X to scale among X axis and place it here. G to move, we are currently in different views, so we don't have to select an axis as it will not move it in the Y axis. Now select this face, S to scale, G to move, then S to scale, then X to scale among X axis and scale it like this, G to move and place it here. Then select these faces using shift and left click. Now we need to make this into a door shape. So E to extrude a little. Make sure individual origins is the pivot point. I to insert, E to extrude and extrude it inwards. I to insert again. Now we need to subdivide them, right click, subdivide, then go to this menu and increase number of cuts to 3. So we'll get a total of 16 in each of these cubes. Make sure the number of cuts is 3. Now I to insert and insert them individually. Now G to move, Y to move along Y axis and move it here. Now we will get 2 big doors with lots of windows in it. Now we need to go to object mode using tab. We need to make this into a single object. So select this window first. Shift to select the barn. Make sure the barn is the active object. Then press Ctrl plus J in the keyboard. This will join the 2 objects into a single object. Now as you can see, we get our third barn. We go to edit mode. This is looking good. Now we need to apply materials to this barn. We applied materials to our previous 2 barns. We can just copy that material to this barn. So in order to do that, go to object mode using tab. We need to unhide everything using Alt plus H in the keyboard. This will bring back all the barns. Select this barn. Go to material preview mode. Select this barn first. Then shift to select this barn. Make sure the active object is a barn with materials. Then Ctrl plus L in the keyboard, select link materials. This will transfer that materials to this barn. If you go to material properties, this globe icon, you can see we go to all the materials here. We just need to apply the materials to individual faces. So select this barn. We need to hide these 2. So select them both. Press H to hide in the viewport. Select this barn. Go to edit mode using tab. Now we need to apply the black materials to the roof. So select this face, select a similar normal. This will select everything in that normal. Then make sure nothing else is selected. Go to material preview mode. Select a black paint material, click assign. Select this face, select a similar normal. Select black paint, click assign. Now go to face selection mode. Make sure we are in the face selection mode. Press Alt in the keyboard and left click on this edge. This will select that face loop. Then select black paint, click assign. Now select this face, select a similar normal. This will select that face. Select black paint, click assign. Now press Alt in the keyboard, left click on this edge. This will select that edge loop. As you can see, this selected the entire edge loop. We won't want that. We don't want that. Select this face, Control and left click on this edge. Control left click on this one. Shift to select this one. Now select black paint, click assign. Make sure nothing else is selected. Now we need to apply the white material here. So press Alt in the keyboard, left click on this edge. This will select that face loop. Select white paint, click assign. Then press Alt in the keyboard, left click on this edge. This will select everything in that particular order. We don't want that. So select this face. Press Control and left click on this edge. Control left click on this edge. And Control left click on this one. And Control left click on this one. This will select everything in that face loop. Select white paint, click assign. Now we apply the white paint to the roof. Now we need to apply the white paint to the frames of windows and everything. Select this face. Select similar coplanar. This will select everything in that plane. Make sure nothing else is selected. Since we made all the windows together, they are all in the same plane. Now we need to press Ctrl++ in the keyboard. This will increase the selection and increase it to here. So you can see we selected to this point. Select white paint material, click assign. Go to solid mode so that we can see the selection clearly. Then Ctrl+- to decrease the selection. Decrease it to here. Go to material preview mode. Select wood. Click assign. Then Ctrl+- again. And select the inside faces only. Then select glass. Click assign. So you can see it's looking good. Now we need to do the same for these windows too. And the ones at the back of the barn. Select this face. Select similar coplanar. This will select everything in that plane. Now we need to increase the selection, Ctrl++ and increase the selection to here. Then select white paint, click assign. Now we need to decrease the selection, Ctrl+- and decrease selection to here. Then select wood, click assign, Ctrl+- to decrease the selection again. Select glass, click assign. Select these faces individually. Now Ctrl++ and increase the selection to here. Select white paint, click assign, Ctrl+- to decrease the selection. Select wood, click assign, Ctrl+- to decrease the selection again. Select glass, assign. Now we applied the materials to it. Now we need to do the same to these doors. Select these faces, shift to select these faces. Then shift to select these faces. Ctrl++ in the keyboard to increase the selection and make sure the selection is correct for all three doors. Then select white paint, click assign. Then Ctrl+- to decrease the selection. Make sure the selection is like this and select wood material, click assign. Now select the top faces only. Then select glass material, click assign. Now we need to apply material to this window. So select this, Ctrl++ in the keyboard to increase the selection. So you can see it selected this. Click wood material, click assign. Select the inside face, click glass material, click assign. Now we need to apply materials to this frame. So press Alt in the keyboard, left click on this edge. Now Ctrl++ in the keyboard to increase the selection. Now select white paint, click assign. We need to select these faces individually. So shift to select these faces. Since they are in the same coplanar axis as the rest of them, we can't select them using the previous methods. After selecting all of them, Ctrl++ in the keyboard to increase the selection and select it to here. Select white paint, click assign, decrease the selection using Ctrl+- and select it here. So you can see, select wood, click assign, Ctrl+- again. So you can see it's selecting like this. Now shift to select in them individually. Then select glass material, click assign. This will assign the glass material to that window. As you can see, we got windows here. Now we need to apply materials to them. Select this face, select similar coplanar. Make sure nothing else is selected. Now Control plus in the keyboard to increase the selection and increase it to here. Select white paint, click assign. Control plus minus to decrease the selection. Select wood, click assign. Control plus minus to decrease the selection again. Select glass, click assign. Now we applied material to our entire barn. Now if we go to object mode using tab, our barn is looking good. So we have got a total of 3 barns right now. In the next video, we will make a silo and apply materials to it. If you like this video so far, please give a like to this video in the bottom. If you want to get more videos like this and you're new to this channel, you can subscribe to this channel using the subscribe button at the bottom. And if you want to get notified when I release new videos, you can press the bell icon. That's it for this video. See you in the next one. Bye for now.